Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen. Today we are just going to be sitting back talking about a wonderful Netflix series called Daybreak. I just spent, give or take, like an hour looking into what happened because I just finished the season, and boy howdy is there an amazing cliffhanger. Also, this video is going to be useless to you if you have not watched the show. We'll be getting into spoilers later on, and then I could just spoil some stuff that I found. Basically, we're getting another season 2, so that's great. And yes, the other thing is kind of a spoiler, so we're just gonna move away from that. But, ladies and gentlemen, I would highly suggest the show if you have not seen it. It is like a mix mash of like Deadpool meets Apocalypse, Mad Max, I guess. And just a lot of goofy weirdness. Basically, the show does constantly fourth wall breaking. So the main character will constantly turn to the camera and be like, "Here's a trip down memory lane," except it's not like cringy and gross. At least to me, I found it very endearing. I've heard a lot of people say that it's also very similar to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which, yes, very much that as well, except a little bit more kind of like polished with the times. It's weird because with this show I don't even know where it's lying, you know, like where it stands on certain issues, because it kind of says something, but then the little tiny child is savage as fuck. So it's a whole. Also, forgive me if I look sweaty and gross. It is snowing like crazy here in Canada. For whatever reason, my room gets hotter when that's the case. I don't know if it insulates the ground because of the cold or whatnot. But yeah, also super hyped, and it's probably not the case, but that the main character is a Canadian, at least in the premise of the show. Is neat, because, you know, Canadians never get any roles, at least in terms of like, he's actually from Canada. It's always like, oh, Toronto gets mentioned like once, and then it's just over with, you know? Anyways, okay, so I had so many emotions when watching the show. The first thing was, okay, this is kind of different. I'm not sure if I like it, but I like the idea that it's at least doing something that is different. And again, it's a show that's basically revolving around one person as the main character, surviving the apocalypse. And in this world, everything's gone to shit. Bombs have dropped, except the bombs have basically turned all grown-ups into these ghouly kind of people, like zombie-ish kind of people. And all the kids are fine. Well, not true. Watch the show. It'll tell you that some kids got fucked for reasons that are actually comical and fucked up because it gets memed constantly. It's the vaccination memes, basically. But anyway. So yeah, Daybreak starts with this main character basically proclaiming his love for this individual and saying that he'll find the love of his life. That before the bombs drop, they were together, yada yada yada, whatever. That's the main objective for him. Now, along his way, he meets some interesting characters. He meets a girl that's just kind of a crazy person, also an edgelord, but also endearing and charming and incredibly smart. And then he meets a samurai who has a whole love triangle going on with him. Not even love triangle, just a rather ravenous love story, I guess. Anyways, that was interesting as well, especially considering, again, every person in this show feels like it's someone committing 100%. Also, is it in focus? God damn it. Is it in focus? Like, a lot of the shit is utter lunacy. Like, again, a samurai in a Mad Max world who has like an honor code is nonsense craziness. But for whatever reason, because these people go so hard, you actually kind of are on board, and you're like, okay, it's a lot, but okay, I'm into it. Anyway, so there's many variables going on. I'm not trying to, like, you know, give a whole rundown of the story. I just want to basically talk about two things that I seen coming. I think everyone's seen coming way in the beginning. And I guess at this point we're gonna be like slowly getting into spoiler territory. But yes, this is like unlocked in the first 2 episodes. But who the hell did not guess that Baron Triumph, or whatever his name is, or the dude in like the mask, was the principal? I think everybody knew that was the case. They kind of did a misdirect though at the very beginning, because it was just that asshole. Also, yeah, we're going full bore spoilers. I was shocked because the TV series is just so uplifting, and like, not uplifting, but it's just goofy fun. You never really think it's gonna go too hard into anything. But then they do kill off characters, but they're side characters. And I guess that's why in the beginning of the series they hammer so hard that this one character is just such an obnoxious asshole. He's the guy who like owns the mall. I don't remember his name. I did not expect that guy was gonna die, especially in the way that they did, because the show has such an amazing way of basically like building back a relationship with you. So for instance, the main evil villain of the whole show that's like killing people constantly, like a lot, like to a sociopathic freak kind of level. By episode 9, by episode 10, I'm like, all right, he's on our team. I forgive you, which is so fucked up. But they do it in such, again, the world is so like flowy and like nonsense that you're kind of just like, I'm fine with this now. Okay. But why I point that out is because the one dude who owned the mall, him and the main character had like a moment where they kind of connected through weird card games, right? And to me, I was like, oh, okay, this is like, they had kind of a weird back and forth, but this is going to be the thing that anchors them together. Like, you know, he's gonna let him back in the mall or something, and then straight out of left field, they just kill him. And that's the kind of the thing. I mean, it's a shitty character, the mall kid. But it's also, he's killed by a shitty character as well. But also the context in which he dies is the least cool thing ever. He was playing a bad guy and he got stabbed. It's having thought about it in the past now, that's a bit rough of an ending for who was essentially kind of a douchebag, because, you know, he let probably thousands of kids die just so that he could have them all to himself. But I don't know. He seemed like ignorant at best. I don't know. Regardless, I did not see that coming. That was the one thing where I was like, oh, Josh isn't going back for him? Okay, no, he's having like a weird fever dream? Okay, well, huh. Anyways, thoroughly loved the show. I honestly, there was a point where I was like, this is really, really different. I don't know if I'm exactly digging in yet, but when I got into episode 4, I was just like, yeah, this has got me. This is pretty damn charming, and all these things. Anyways, I just finished the last episode. That's why I'm like revving to go and I'm like jumping all over the place, because my brain is just like, what about this and what about that, and oh god, they did that. Also, I read a bunch of interviews with the main person who directed the whole thing, and apparently he has thoughts on everything, which is cool and interesting. Anyways, for those guys who haven't watched this TV series, big spoilers, which were already kind of present, considering I kind of told you guys that the main protagonist, or villain, gets not so villainous towards the end. Well, he does, but we forgive him, because why not? Anyways, so the whole show is building around the main character, the Canadian Wolverine, survivalist kind of dude. This main character, his like pride and joy and his like blinding passion is to save the woman he loves. But if having read a lot of the interviews with the main guy who directed the whole thing, as he said, that's what his intent was to be this really weird, perspective-locked version of a love story. The person that directed this, and Netflix have already greenlit season 2. So what the dude said, and this kind of encapsulates everything, is season 1 is a love story, or a coming-of-age story, and then season 2 is the breakup. So apparently in season 2, do not expect them to get back together, although, again, the people that make the show are really, really good about, how do I say, just basically making you okay with horrible things. So like, again, the football Mad Max King guy, by episode 2 I was like, okay, well, as long as he stops being so jealous and crazy, then I'm fine with him teaming up with Josh. And bang, it happened. And I'm just like, it's fine, he's fine now. Even though he's done so many horrible things. So maybe they find a way to do that. But that kind of puts in perspective of the whole director's choice for season 1, and that's the idea that Josh is under this perception of like knighthood, and they even flash back to like things he says about him loving to be a knight. But the whole premise is that the girl that he was with never needed a knight, which is a bit weird. That's kind of like some like real shit kind of things where it's just like, okay, then why are the jocks following you when this guy literally just toppled an army and Baron Triumph, who made your one dude look like a bitch. So like, I'm just super confused why they're like, Yeah, let's follow her for no reason, despite Josh has shown himself to just be like a king of survival. Anyways, that part's a bit weird. Like, she's nice, but not like, yeah, let's bank on the nice person in the world that ghoulies are gonna come and rip my face off. Like, it just doesn't make sense nor work in my opinion. But sure, you don't need a knight in shining armor and all that. Fuck, if a woman saved my ass, I'd be like, fine, sure. I just want to survive and live, you know? Also, Jesus Christ, his love interest, Josh's love interest, God, beautiful person. Beautiful people always on Netflix, Jesus Christ. So yeah, I guess that's kind of just the gist of like everything that's went down. Again, season 2 is going to be the breakup, so again, it's going to be that kind of weirdness. I don't really know what to expect besides maybe Josh being cemented as like, oh, you're definitely our leader, like of the outbreak people, because he literally like won against the crazy odds and all that stuff. I really want to know how they spin that to make sense. Yeah, like maybe his love interest or whatever her name is going to basically be like, I came up with a plan and I did this and this and this. Maybe, but like Josh talked to everybody. He won everybody over and all these things. So I don't know. That's weird. But then again, she is like very intelligent, so she's gonna be able to, like, she's a smart leader, but not for the jocks that are like base their entire structures of power. So it's very strange. I don't know. Also, she's led them astray a fucking lot. So why are they banking on her? Anyways, it just doesn't. Yeah, you told us to eat this goo, and we passed out and almost died. What? It doesn't make any sense. Also, you didn't take down Baron Triumph. It was Josh. Anyways. But yeah, that's also the other thing. I really, really, really hope that in season 2, straight at the cuff, they make us hate her. Because that's the thing, and again, especially having said that, like, these people are already, who make the show, already very, very good at, like, again, the main villain of the entire season 1 is basically on our guy's team now, and he didn't even really earn it. He just kind of got thrown out like garbage, and I guess him and his the samurai boyfriend or whatever picked him up and like, okay, I guess you're with us now. I don't know. I don't know. Regardless, I really, really hope they make her hateable, but I don't feel like they'll do that because I think that's the whole premise of the show. The whole premise of the show is like, yes, people are greedy or just kind of shitty people, but there's always reasons for why they're the way they are. But again, I don't really like that as like a viewer, because then I'm just going to be really conflicted, like, oh, great, so Josh did this horrible thing, and maybe when he broke up with her, she had like this horrible storm of horrible things happen to her, so that's what cemented her being really fucking mad. I don't know. Yeah, so to me, again, in an ideal world, they would make us hate Josh's ex, but I have the feeling that they're not going to do that, and instead they're going to make us like empathize with her, and we're going to see her perspective of the apocalypse, like when Josh was gone, she got destroyed, you know, who knows, and then she learned to survive on her own, so now she doesn't need him anymore or whatever, you know, I don't know. Regardless, it still doesn't make sense. Like, you can say, hey, I don't need your help, but you literally took down an army and a monster of epic proportions. So, that's something there. There's some shit right there. I don't want to go near it, but anyways, I'm over it and moving on. I will say that though, as much as that one episode where it's like really weird because it's like Josh's first time or whatever, and it's just kind of like, oh god, what do you call it? That part was that episode was like the pinnacle of like incredibly endearing for like one half, but there was something really like, yeah, about the other part, like when she opens the door for the delivery man and whatnot, and that whole thing seemed like hella manipulative and like really, yeah, I don't want to say anything negative, but it seemed real like, this bitch is crazy and going through some shit. So yeah, I think that might be the angle that they go on for season 2, is like maybe really like anchoring down on the fact that she's really good at like being slightly manipulative in that sense, or at least being manipulative to Josh, like, because he's like this survival instinct lovesick puppy, and she's like, well, I want to be king, but I also realize that you have certain talents that could help me. Maybe I could pluck some strings and get you over to my side, you know, or whatever. But that seems weird. Oh, it's such a good show. It definitely leaves you on like that, oh, what? Actually, not true. When I seen the ending, I was like, come on, really? You had to be like, I get the whole TV series is like different and trying to be doing things that are different, but come on, for her just to basically, again, that's the other thing. It doesn't make sense, and maybe that's because we've only ever seen from Josh's perspective on everything, and she was already beloved by everybody in the school, so. Yeah, but I'm sorry, beloved nature and then a person that actually does things for you in the moment of chaos. I would bank on the moment of chaos helping guy, you know? That's just me. But then again, I could see them starting like right from that point where the season ended, and for her basically being like, all right, jocks, those kids in the buses, take them back to the school, and then being like, we don't want to go with you. You're like this psychopath. Like you would basically gave this guy all this power, and he was gonna eat us. Like, what's your problem? No, we're not going with you. And then she maybe is like, the fuck, you're not going with me, and then shows that she's quite aggressive and like a warlord. But again, in an ideal world, they would just layer it on as her being this like awful person. So then you go watch season 1 and you're like, God, she's so great. She's great. Oh shit, twist. She's the bad guy. And then they really hammer that bad guy. But I feel like, and especially having read the person that makes the show talk about it, it feels like they're gonna angle it we seen Josh's perspective of like wanting to be a knight, wanting to save someone, and basically never acknowledging that his dad actually died. And then when he did, it's when he first started actually become like a pretty big player in the apocalypse. I could totally see them being like, okay, well, that was Josh's perspective. What happened to her? And then that's the thing that I don't want to see, which is going to be like, again, especially if she's supposed to be the villain, they're just going to basically be like, yeah, but what if she was like really nice? And if when he broke up with her, everything fell apart or some shit, or maybe again something went wrong in the apocalypse and some bad things went down with her, and then yeah, and she had to survive on her own, so now she rejects any sort of kind of assistance from anybody because of things that happened. I don't know, which to me that I don't know, man. If again, I just doubt they're gonna pull another, hey, she's gonna be on Josh's team by the end of season 2. I think they're probably gonna win us over. They're gonna show that she's kind of a bastard. Then we're gonna see that she has a point. Josh is not the greatest. And then he's gonna have to like let her bleed out, and he's gonna be like crying, and he's like, I'm sorry, and he walks away or some shit. I don't know, but it's gonna be one of those things where it's just not gonna be a very emotionally satisfying ending. I can see one of those things where you're like, I feel wrecked, just fucked up. Also, that's the other thing. On the last episode, we find out that Baron Triumph is like holding this. They're basically like eggs. They're like human fleshy eggs holding this mutant, gross shit. and yeah, and the one girl sees this. She's like, oh no, that's happening. And then for whatever reason, she's like, you know what, I'm gonna be in charge, despite I have shown zero combat ability and strategy, and all the strategy that I've made has literally gotten people fucking ruined. Yeah, let's not bank. Like, even if you want to do a manipulation thing, it would have made more sense for her to basically be like, all right, well, I'm gonna pluck strings in the background, but make sure that this dude is at the forefront, so anything that happens hits him and not me. But no, yeah, that was just a weird one where she's just like, but I'm king now. It's just like, you see what's coming. But then again, maybe in season 2, they'll be like, hey, capture Josh, because this son of a bitch knows how to survive for whatever reason. Yeah, throw him in a cage, and we'll figure out how to ride these waves out. I will say that's the only negative thing that I do really feel about the show. The only like part that I was like, and I feel like a lot of people can kind of contest to this, is it felt like there was a giant kind of like weird lull. Like for instance, part 1 and 2 and 3 and all those felt really good because it was like Josh, the samurai guy, and the girl kind of making their way through this world, and it was really entertaining in that sense. You know, finding them all. It would have been cool if they found them on armor, or even if they were just able to showcase like why they're alive, you know, whereas Josh, it's like, okay, it seems like he kind of got lucky. Same with the one girl, we don't really get to see her intelligence, so it'd be really cool if they like came together in season 2 and like built, I don't know, like they literally found a tank, and we're like, okay, well, let's drive it here, this will be our like bunker, so if anything ever bad happens, like a bomb going off, we can just jump in the tank and whatever. Something like that, which would make sense. Or even Josh's like ability to scavenge anything. We don't really get to see any of that. So it kind of just is like, okay, well, they're alive because, and it's like, all right, I guess. But anyways, there's a giant part where they just kind of like separate, and it's a lot of flashbacks. That felt a little weird. Or even when like Josh is mad at them because they lied to him or whatever, that seemed really weird. Like just like nothing happened, you know what I mean? And you're kind of sitting there like, I kind of just want our boys and respective tiny women to get back together and to like kick ass. But instead it took a long time to happen, and when it finally did, yeah, like I'm really hoping in season 2, which they kind of hinted at, like Josh basically banked on like accepting friendship because, yeah, stuff with his dad, that's why he didn't open up in the apocalypse, is because not only was he trying to repent for what he did to the love of his life, but also his dad died, and he didn't want to let anybody in because they'd hurt him or he'd hurt them or whatever, just like his dad did by dying. And on the 10th episode, he kind of addresses that, or the 9th episode? He addresses that and says, you know, that's not right, and then he immediately forgives everybody, basically. But that hopefully means that in season 2, he'll realize that, this girl that I was the love of my life is now a bad bitch, and I need to fall back on the people that I can count on, which is this crazy samurai and this nutso little girl. So I don't know, but regardless, I'm a bit worried for season 2. I'll be honest, because again, when I try to think about like how it will play out, they're not gonna get back together. The guy who's made it, he said season 1 is a love story, and then season 2 is the breakup. So, and it's like an ex. It's like high school, deal with your ex and shit, which is gonna get messy. You know she's gonna bring up the fact that he was an awkward virgin, and it's just gonna be like, oh, not her, don't do him like that. He's trying to make the best of the situation or whatever. I don't know. And yeah, it sucks because like the dumb part of me is like, but it would be nice if it all worked out. Like even if there was a lot of rough shit that happened, but at the end, they get back or something. I don't know. Then again, you don't want that like bullshit, you know, in a relationship, out of a relationship. That'd be something cool. In season 2, if they show us another love interest that's actually like makes sense, because that's the thing, they do a pretty good job about like showing why he loves her, like how they hang out constantly. He's always been an outsider, so that's why he attaches such a heavy emotion with her and all these things. Then again, in season 2, they could do a bunch of shit where they're basically like, look, she was slut shamed like crazy, and he said the one thing that broke her. And then I'm sitting there as a viewer like, why? It sucks. I want to root for our boy, but then this shit's reality and it sucks, and horrible timing. I feel the same way when I watch season 1 of 12 Reasons Why or something, for I don't know, some sort of thing where I was just like, that timing of everything is so shitty in this world. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this was me ramping about Daybreak, a Netflix show that I highly would advise, as well as I spoiled most of it, but the journey, I promise you, is crazy, and I think worthy of you watching, even if you've heard me spoil it to no end. Because yeah, it does not have I don't think knowing the twists or turns, I don't even think knowing the ending of the fact that his love of his life actually turns out to be the bad guy, or turns out to be the next bad guy, I guess, isn't that bad. I think it's fine. I think it like doesn't ruin anything, honestly. Yeah, the only thing it would change is like you being a little on guard, which I'll be honest, I thought so. Like again, the show does not do the greatest job about not, like, you can kind of get an understanding of what's coming, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I just feel like it's not going to end with like, let's get back together and let's move out, just because of the way they were saying it. Like it almost seemed like the actor didn't believe it. so yeah, I don't know, regardless. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hearing me ramble. This was just quickly impromptu. Just finished watching it, wanted to make this throwaway video. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully go check out Daybreak if you haven't, and hopefully you let me know what you think about season 2. What do you think they're gonna do to us? Have you guys researched more than me, and you guys are like, oh, they've said they're gonna do this, and I'm like, oh, good. Is it not? No, it's gonna be that? Okay, well, shit. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Subscribe button above me, 2 videos to my right. Thank you again, and goodbye.